All right, following Monday's sports wagering action, we're 4-1 in our last 5 premium sports bets on BrockPage.com. And that's going to put us at 8-2 in our last 10 premium sports bets on that website. $1,000 bettors are up over $5,200 during that span. We also improved to 4-0 in our last 4 board member tier package bets on that very same webpage. And the link for today's board member tier package bet is in the description section below. $1,000 bettors are also up over $3,600 during that span as well. Now, the board member tier is an all-inclusive package that I offer on that website. And not only do you get access to my board member tier package bet itself, you also get access to every single bet that I give out on that webpage all the way through the end of February. Now, if you're not signed up for that package, or, well, if you have no idea what I'm talking about here today, I'm going to explain a little bit more about that in just a moment. But before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to the video. My name is Brock Page, and I do sports bets for free. I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. I also sell my personal bets on BrockPage.com. And I have packages on that website starting at just $1.99. Now, the purpose of these YouTube videos on my channel is to provide free informational sports betting content to you. And it's also designed to generate interest in signing up for a membership on my website. Now, you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my webpage. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side, and total. And what I do on my website is, well, I actually share with you which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and get into some NHL content. Got ourselves a pretty good slate here for Wednesday, so let's go ahead and dive into it. First game, it is going to be Sabres versus the Canadiens, 7:30 p.m. Eastern puck drop on Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022. Both teams are minus $1.10 with a total at 5.5. Sami Montembeault for Montreal, Craig Anderson for Buffalo. And even though Anderson has some pretty good numbers this season, the Sabres are on a 3-game losing streak, and they're winning only 32% of their road games. Now, defensively, when it comes to, defensive play, the Sabres are currently in the bottom 5 in road goals given up. And they're also allowing 37 shots on goal a game when traveling. They're taking on a Montreal team who, believe it or not, these guys are actually on a 3-game winning streak. And they also allowed they allowed just 2 goals a game during that stretch. So Montreal, rare victories, and they're consecutive, believe it or not. Now, offensively, well, the Habs scored 11 goals in their last 3 victories. Nick Suzuki's the team's leading points getter with 30 total points. When it comes to the injury report, Weber, Drouin, and Dvorak and Edmonton, they're all still out for Montreal. Meanwhile, for Buffalo on the other side, Quinn is still out for them. Dahlin is questionable. Now, when it comes to the total in this one, 6 out of these teams' last 10 head-to-head meetings with each other got over the line. Buffalo also went 6-1 to the over in their last 7 outings. Meanwhile, Montreal on the other side, they went 70% to the over in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward Montreal minus $1.10 and the over 5.5. Next contest, it is going to be Avalanche versus the Red Wings, 7:30 p.m. East. Colorado's minus 290 with the total at 6. Darcy Kemper for the Avs, Alex Nedeljkovic for Detroit. Now, Alex comes into Wednesday's start with 14 wins on the season and a .907 save percentage. Now, the Red Wings also have a winning record at home this season, and they're currently in the top 10 in home scoring. Dylan Larkin scored 26 times and has 52 total points. Meanwhile, Tyler Bertuzzi has 23 goals himself, along with 21 total assists. Now, they're taking on a Colorado team who's been playing some pretty good hockey lately themselves, but they did suffer losses recently to the likes of Boston, Dallas, and, believe it or not, Arizona. And even though there's really not much to nitpick when it comes to the Avs. This is a really good hockey team. Just keep in mind, they do tend to give up most of their goals late in games on the road. Now, when it comes to the puck line, the Avs are actually cashing in on the puck line in only 50% of their road games. Most of these games, you're going to have to lay the goal and a half with these guys just to get any type of equity. And so these guys really haven't been coming through for their puck line backers. Now, injury-wise, Byram is still out indefinitely for Colorado. Meanwhile, for Detroit on the other side, Nemesnikov and Lindstrom are both questionable for them. When it comes to the total in this one, 6 out of Detroit's last 9 meetings with Colorado got over the line. They're also 4-1 of the over in their last 5 at home. Meanwhile, Colorado saw 3 out of their last 5 on the road get over the posted total themselves. They also saw overs recently with Boston, Buffalo, and Chicago. I'm going to lean toward Detroit plus 1.5, keeping this one close, and the over 6 goals. Next contest, it is going to be Oilers versus the Lightning, 7:30 p.m. East. Tampa Bay is minus 225 with the total at 6.5. Andre Vasilevsky for Tampa Bay, Mike Smith for Edmonton. And despite a few lackluster starts out of Smith, the Oilers do a pretty nice job defensively on the road. They're in the top 10 in fewest defensive shots on goal allowed away from home. So if that trend continues, Smith shouldn't be really tested all too much. He will be tested, obviously, but, just think about that there. Now, the Oilers, they also find themselves in the top 10 in fewest road goals allowed. And when it comes to the scoring in this one, when it comes to offensive production, Leon Draisaitl leads the entire NHL with 35 goals, along with 70 total points. Meanwhile, Connor McDavid's the league's leading points getter with 71. When it comes to offensive shots on goal, the Oilers are averaging 34 shots per game. Now, they're taking on a Tampa team who's been pretty bad cashing in on the puck line at home this year. The Lightning's just 9-15 against the number at the Amalie Arena, and that's good for only 37% in that category. And speaking of home games, the Lightning really struggles getting the puck on the net at home. They're currently in the bottom 5 in the NHL in home offensive shots on goal. Now, total-wise, Tampa Bay's 14-10 to the under at the Amalie Arena. They also went 60% to the under in their last 10 meetings with Edmonton. Meanwhile, the Oilers are 60% to the under in their last 10 outings themselves. I'm going to lean toward Edmonton plus 1.5 and the under 6.5 goals. Next contest I have for you, it is going to be Winnipeg versus the Stars, and that's going to be a 7:30 Eastern start time. Dallas is minus 150, totals 5.5. Jake Oettinger for the Stars, Connor Hellebuyck for Winnipeg. And despite some pretty good numbers out of Hellebuyck this season, well, he's still lost more starts than he's won this year, and really that's all that matters. And I'll tell you what, if that isn't bad enough, Connor faces nearly 34 shots on goal a game when he travels. And speaking of traveling, Winnipeg's done a terrible job getting the W on the road. These guys are winning just 34% of their contests away from their home ice. They're taking on a Dallas club in this contest here who's actually got a .680 win percentage at home this year. And in addition to that, they're actually in the top 10 in the NHL in home scoring. Now, Rupa Hintz, he scored 22 times this year, and he also has 42 total points. Meanwhile, Joe Pavelski's a plus 15, and he also has 53 total points on the year himself. Now, when it comes to defensive play in this one, Dallas allows only 29 shots on goal a game at home. Jake Oettinger is 15-6 with a .234 goals against average and a .921 save percentage. Now, total-wise, 5 out of Winnipeg's last 7 contests against Dallas did get over the posted number. They also saw overs recently with Nashville, Calgary, and this very Winnipeg team. Meanwhile, the Jets, on the other side of things, they saw overs recently against Seattle, Minnesota, and Nashville. I'm going to lean toward Dallas minus 150 and the over 5.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Kings versus the Coyotes, 10 o'clock Eastern puck drop. LA is minus 225 with the total at 5.5. Johnny Quick for the Kings, Karel Vejmelka for the Coyotes. Now, Karel's gotten the W in just 7 out of 28 starts this season. 351 goals against average thus far for the netminder. Now, Arizona's in the bottom 3 in goals allowed per contest at home. They're allowing 35 shots on goal a game in that same category. Meanwhile, offensively, the Coyotes average only 2.3 goals a game and just 25 offensive shots on goal. Now, they're taking on a Kings team who won 4 out of their last 5. And they give themselves a ton of chances offensively. As a matter of fact, LA's currently averaging 36 shots on goal a game. And they're led by Anze Kopitar, who has 33 assists and 47 total points. Meanwhile, defenseman Matt Waugh, he's a plus 12 when he's on a shift. And speaking of defensive play, the Kings currently lead the entire NHL in defensive shots on goal a game. Johnny Quick's got a .261 goals against average and a .911 save percentage. Now, total-wise, LA's 15-9 to the under when traveling. They're also limiting Arizona to just 2.8 goals a game in their last 10 head-to-head meetings. Meanwhile, Arizona saw unders recently against Colorado and Buffalo themselves. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the LA Kings -1.5 and the under 5.5 in the tight window. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on brockpage.com. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Tuesday or Wednesday to you, depending on when you're watching this. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at brockpage.com.